Welcome to the last day of the course. Take a deep breath, pat yourselves on the back. You made it. You made it. And so for this last tip that we want to give you is that when you're trying to develop a learning community, one of the things that's critical is that you need to develop a course that's really exciting and challenging, incorporates collaborative activity and also opportunities for reflection. And you've been reading about collaboration, experiencing it. You've also been reading about reflection, and you're going to be reflecting by providing us with a little reflective piece on your week and how you thought things went for you and what you learned. We talked yesterday about how collaboration helps to develop the online learning community and also sustain it. You help your students develop more critical thinking skills, creativity, and it's just collaboration. Even though people resist it, when it's done well, it works, and it really is important in developing an online learning community.
Exactly, and one of the things I'm seeing a lot of is there's very few schools that I see now that let the instructors actually develop a course. Mostly it's a collaborative project. There's instructional designers, there's maybe other subject matter experts involved in that, but one of the things I'm seeing is this is becoming more critical. The collaborative activities and the fact of community needs to be developed, and they're building that into the courses, and I see it becoming a very critical and important piece of successful courses.
And then if you incorporate reflection into those activities, like we have done with you, you've had a week to complete a collaborative activity, and now we're going to ask you to take a deep breath and reflect on that and talk about what you learned. It helps to deepen the impact of that activity and to deepen the level of critical thinking skills or increase the level of critical thinking skills that can come out of collaboration.
Okay, the next thing we want to talk about is something that we hold near and dear to our hearts, is the evidence of presence in community. Active interaction involving the content and personal communication in the course is critical. You need to be involved. You need to be part of that as the instructor, but even as a student, you need to take on the responsibility to become part of that community and establish your own presence, and we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Right, and when we see that active interaction, when we see people really engaged with one another, that's when we know that community is happening, because people are talking about the content and they're also talking to each other on a personal level. I had probably last term a class where one of the nicest communities I have seen developed, and it was a group of students who had been in a cohort together. So this was the 4th class they had taken together, and it was the last one that they would take together, because after that point they would split up and start taking elective courses and move into dissertation work, etc. These were doctoral students. And it was so nice because they were engaged, very, very much engaged with each other around the content in the discussions and giving each other really good feedback, but they were very active in the social space in the course, in the cafe area, and encouraging one another. We can make it. We're doing it. We're going to be fine. Sharing personal events. Some of them had some tragedies in their lives. There are some difficulties at work or things like that, and they were sharing those with each other. So it was really obvious that a strong community had formed in that group, and it was heartwarming to see it.
Yeah, I don't know if you know it or not, but there's probably not many things you don't know about me, but I did one of my master's degrees in a cohort, and it was almost like you leave family when you leave that cohort. It's like, I don't want to go away from these folks. They've been with me for 18 months now, and we've been together, we've worked together, we've shared, and we are here, and we're getting ready, and it's such a great feeling to have that happen. And understand that a community has been built, and it's time maybe to move on, but that sense of community is so satisfying.
Right. So some of the other things that you see when that tells you that community is present, and probably you experienced this in your cohort as well, Keith, is that The collaborative learning is evidenced by the fact that students are directing comments to one another and not necessarily being so dependent on the instructor.
Exactly. We could have done without the instructor in that last course. Yeah.
Right. I bet you could. And that there's socially constructed meaning that they are much more comfortable agreeing with one another or not when something comes up, because what they're trying to do is to understand. They're trying to agree on what they mean when they're going through the course. So you'll see evidence of that. What I love is when they start to share resources with one another. You know, hey, I found this great article and I know you're interested in this, so here, this is for you. And I know you want to write your paper on this, and I happened on this book, or I saw this website, or whatever it happens to be. And one of the things we asked you guys to do this week is to post resources that you were finding, and hopefully those have been helpful to all of you. And then, as we talked about, the expressions of support and encouragement that are exchanged between them, as well as their willingness to critically evaluate their work, to really say the hard stuff to each other, I'm not sure I agree, or are you sure, or why do you want to go in that direction, or what made you interpret the reading for the week this way, or whatever it happens to be. But once they're finally willing to critically evaluate each other's work, you're there.
Exactly, and I'd like to end this with saying it's been great working with you guys, and you may not have thought we were here, but we are. We're usually here every day or more than once, and it's been great.
And good luck with building community in your own online courses.
Exactly.